So now I will formally introduce myself because you see me on stage, but I think some of you may not me. So I'm Josefina Campos. I'm unit head at the WHO Hub in Berlin. And I have been trying to get together with all of you this vision of IPSN into action, into what that it really means. So if we have the presentation, I think. I will now introduce a little bit of what IPSN and what we will do during the next 2 days to bring this into action, actually. We'll have a few minutes until we have the slides. Sorry? Can you do stand-up comedy? Of course I can do. Like, I can dance, I can do whatever. Wait, right now. I can start telling you a little bit what is IPSN. So for the ones that we don't know, it stands for International Pathogen Surveillance Network, and we try to bring together partners to actually make sure that we can bring genomics and improve public health decision making. I think we have been talking about that since we started this conference. So we have partners that goes from national and regional public health agencies. We try to have a One Health approach. We try to make sure that we have founders and donors all together, include civil society, international organizations. So actually to include all the community that brings together pathogen genomics, that it exceeds far beyond only the national public health institutes. We have been growing since we started 2 years ago. Thanks, Oliver, for mentioning this. So when Chikwe Ikiasu presented for the first time actually to this community, IPSN, at the IBPHM 2023, I think many of you were there as well. So this was a vision. This was how we can get there. We launched it at the World Health Assembly of that same year, and we only have 35 partners in 18 countries. And everyone was talking, well, what is this IPSN thing? What is going on? What is going to be about? And we have been growing since then. We have been trying to bring the community together. So we came from 94 partners in 48 countries at the first Global Partners Forum on that year. And today, we have 306 member organizations across 105 countries. And this is quite interesting because the way we actually count these organizations is how we actively engage with them. So this is organizations that we have been working in the last year through the different bodies, the different tools that we are developing together. So the depth of the network actually, it's more than 1,000 organizations across the world, and that's the reach out that we have when we do our webinars, when we do some of our gatherings. But we engage with 300 organizations in our daily work. So we have been trying to identify the challenges, and we will discuss these challenges across the next 3 days, and we have been identifying and discussing in this community for a long time. So we start working with IPSN, trying to bring what we all have been doing in the community together. So trying to gather all the tools that are out there, trying through the Secretariat to develop new tools that are needed. So tools around capacity, around financing, around data, and make sure that we can go through those tools no matter where you are in the community. So if you are someone running a genomic program, or if you are a research, or you are someone that has to do decision making, you can move across this toolkit with your different hats and use those tools together. So together with the Robert Koch Institute, one of our partners, we are developing an IPSN navigator tool using AI. So hopefully you can move across this toolkit with all the different realities, but more importantly, to help you not only to use the tools, but drive you where to connect with our different partners to get those tools together and move pathogen genomics. We are underpinned under WHO genomic strategy, and I would like to stop 1 minute here. The strategy was launched in 2022, and they have 5 objectives. So those 5 objectives are there for some reason, and I want to take a few minutes to go through them. So we want to improve access to tools for better geographic representation, and I think we can all agree on that, and we all are working on that. We want to strengthen the workforce to deliver at speed, scale, and quality. I think we have mentioned that at many of the opening remarks, and we will keep mentioning it through the next 3 days. We want to enhance data sharing and utility for local to global public health decision-making and action. And I think this is something that this specifically meeting is focusing on. We want to maintain a readiness posture for emergency. So even we have this specific strategy for emergency, we need to make sure that it's in the system, that we have it there, that genomics is part of our daily system. And we want to maximize connectivity in this broader surveillance architecture. So I think that was also mentioning across the remarks, how we make sure that this is part of the whole surveillance architecture, not just a small part linking to lab or linking to data. So the reason I wanted to mention the genomics strategy and wanted to stop in the 5 objectives is because we have been talking on how we transform these insights that we have, how we transform this genomics data into action. But this is a question, how do we do it? And this is what we're trying to solve in the last year. So since 2024, through different of our bodies, we have been doing consultations to think about this. Can we come with a roadmap? Can we come with clear objectives and milestones that we can get together? So thinking in 3 years from now, when we get together in this conference or other gathering, we can see how we can actually make some of this data, genomic data, into actions, into insights, and part of our surveillance system. We will see a lot of examples during the next 3 days of specific countries, specific organizations that have been doing that, but how we can do this collectively as a community and make sure we are measuring that. So how we thought about this, so we have 3 objectives to do this roadmap. We want to develop a guide for these global efforts with actionable deliverables for the next 3 years. We want to discuss the gaps in this global data architecture and make sure that we have a robust and inclusive global genomic surveillance system. And we want to map action areas across the different roles of the different stakeholders, understanding the complexity of this community that is sitting here today that we all have mentioned. So through that, we have a hybrid workshop in Berlin in June. And through that workshop, we try to review the strategy by processes and by thematic areas. So we want to identify gaps in each of the themes for one of the processes areas. So when we go to sample to data, so the whole process of sample to data, when we go to data to insights, and then when we go to insights to policy, what are the gaps in each of these processes? Then we consolidate this through to identify the enablers that can overcome those gaps, and we try to rank those enablers, because obviously there are many. So how we can't, as a community, identify the most important ones, the ones that we can't actually, not only are priority, but we can action on them, we can achieve, and they can have some impacts. And then, after prioritizing those enablers, we want to identify the milestones and the stakeholders to do it. And I think we have been mentioning through the whole morning, we cannot do this alone. So all the different stakeholders needs to be working on these milestones and these deliverables. So we thought about this in 4 dimensions, over obviously governance, ethics, and trust, and this is critical for data. On sustainability and resilience, how you make sure that we have the system going and make it sustainable. How we can make it interoperability and make sure that we have standards into that. And the most important, how we can have equity, access, and capacity for all. So through crafting this roadmap, we have 3 strategic pillars. So, and this was identified by you. This was identified by the community through these different gatherings that we have. So the first one, how we institutionalize genomic surveillance. How? Through different tools, to incorporate into policies, through the different networks and the different frameworks that we have. So how we can build systems that has genomics into the public health governance and practice. How we can align investment and evidence-based advocacy. So how we can make sure that this is sustainable through coordinated finance. And how we do that, we have been talking about coordinating finance. Well, we have to inform with robust data and economic evidence. This is a big gap that we have at the moment. And not less important, coordinated data ecosystem. We'll be talking about data a lot during the next 3 days, but how we coordinate these ecosystems that we have together, how we can create an interoperable, but mainly trusted and robust ecosystem that can connect data from local to global action. Through these 3 strategic pillars, we focus on action areas, and I hope you're still following me, but this is scaling down and down, but this is the work that we have been doing all together. So we identify these action areas. So how to institutionalize, that's the first pillar. So we have to support the adoption of global genomics guidance into national planning. This is critical. Has to be part of our system. How we mainstream global genomics into evaluation and training, and how we strengthen networks and coordination mechanisms. And here we have alliances and different networks, but how we strengthen all of us together, how we make all of us sustainable. For investment and advocacy, can we generate local evidence on cost effectiveness and health impacts? Yes, we have some of them, but how we collectively put them together to make our cases a community. So how we can align donor and national priorities, and how we make sure we overcome procurement and supply bottlenecks. And we will discuss about that in one of our processes. And for the coordinated data ecosystem, we identify how to build a lawful, ethical, and secure data practices, how we build a trusted and connected global data sharing model, and how we can ensure reliability, comparability, and interoperability of the national systems. And again, when we say we, I think all together, you have been doing this on all these different consultations. So if we go one layer below that, we would go to the target outputs. And this is where we can start measuring, how we can start making tangible what we are going to really be working in the next 3 years. So we will be working on National Genomic Actions Plan toolkits. We will be working on the workforce competency frameworks. We will be working on pathogen genomic integration into training and evaluation frameworks, so how we can monitor, how we can measure these indicators, how we can implement guidance and costing templates. And some of this is already in action. Some of this is part of the toolkit you have been seeing. All of you are already working in some pieces of this. But how we do this in the next 3 years, how we measure this. For generating evidence, how we can implement a research consortium, how we can invest a repository of investment cases. So we have some use cases on cost effectiveness and investment, but how we can make this and put it all together so we can make our case more strong. How we have a funding landscape mapping, country cases studies, and I think we have many examples of them, but how we put them all together so we can all access to that, and how we come with an essential reagent list. And then for the data piece, how we can come with legal and benefit sharing templates, how we can have tools and platforms for endorsement processes, how we can have models of data governance and policy, and how we can have a repository of pathogen genomics surveillance standards, and how we can make sure that we implement a federated analysis ecosystem. Again, this has been identified by the community as our target outputs. So how we do it these 3 days. So what we want from you in these 3 days, how we can craft this together. So as I said, we have several consultations and different works of approaching this roadmap through the community, and we will use you as a community to keep crafting this roadmap together. So during the next 3 days, you will be working around the sample to data dimension, the data to insights, and the insights to policy through different formats. We will have breakup groups, we have some panel discussions, and the most important one, I encourage you to network, to discuss this between you, to think together, is this helpful? Are we missing something? Is there something that we should get back to this and it's impacting my work or will impact my work in the next 3 years? So What we are looking for after these 3 days of working together, so we will consolidate all that information. So this would be our final consultation. We will make sure that we connect with our partners to bring this together and publish this roadmap. Why we want to publish? So we can, all of us, use that to keep advocating for pathogen genomic surveillance, to use this to bring up to our organizations, to the founders, to the different stakeholders that we need to work together and said, this is what we need to be doing in the next 3 years to make sure that we can get this genomic data into action, into insights, into public health intelligence. And we can all together mobilize resources to keep it up and genomics keep it in the global health agenda. Oliver mentioned the landscape today at global health funding. It's not the best, so we have to make sure that we keep ourselves visible. We have an opportunity now to use this as an advocacy tool for all of us together to keep it as in the agenda. And we have some discussions. The pandemic agreement was mentioned, the PAPS discussion was mentioned. So we are on stage to make sure that genomics now is valuable, and now we will have a tool to bring it there and said, these are the key things we need to achieve, help us doing it. I think that's the end of the slide and the roadmap presentation.